Recently I've been playing games like Live Alive and Cult of the Lamb, and I've been loving how polished these not so big budget games have become. So what do I see on Game Pass today while I was looking? Tinykin. Let's get into it. I didn't know what to expect with Tinykin. The trailer looked good. Clearly it's not a AAA title, but you know what? I've had some of the best gaming experiences with games I didn't even have high expectations for. Spoiler, I like this game a lot. I played through the game in one sitting, about 5 hours or so. It's a short one, but in a good way. We'll get into the mechanics of the game and all that reviewy stuff. Developer Splashteam created something special here. Tinykin throws you right into the bright and vibrant world immediately. The game is simple and intuitive enough to where anyone can pick this up and know what to do after a few minutes of looking around. It's that thing where you see orbs off into the distance and you know there's gotta be a way up there if only you think hard enough. Paired with controls so tight you'd think this was a first-party Nintendo game. There's a trait I like to think all gamers have, where we want to explore and discover secrets on our own for that sense of reward when we finally do figure out the solution to a puzzle. Tinykin is filled with countless rewarding environmental puzzles and exploration, set in a world full of charm spread out across various locations which never get tiresome to be in. Tinykin has you play as Mylodane, who's transported into a strange home, and on top of that he's been shrunk down to the size of an insect. I like the whole Honey I Shrunk the Kids aesthetic here. It reminds me of Grounded on PC, which was a survival crafting game that I really liked, which was very similar to this in how you play as shrunken down humans surrounded by insects. But there's no crafting in this one. This is a platforming exploration game where you must travel throughout large rooms, climbing on books and floating onto 90s household furniture to find items and solve puzzles. Quickly you realize that you can control what are called Tinykin, creatures smaller than you which are found in each stage and aid you on your quest. For some reason they love you and you're the only one in this world who can harness their powers. They'll follow you around as you collect them. There's 5 different types of Tinykin, each a different color. Each color Tinykin can perform a different ability. For example, one Tinykin fetches heavy objects that you need moved from place to place. Another Tinykin can join together to form ramps, either for you to walk on or for your other Tinykin to use as they move objects towards objective points. You'll be managing an inventory of all different types of Tinykin as you progress in stages. Each stage is designed around the Tinykin abilities you've acquired up to that point. Each stage introduces a new Tinykin into your arsenal, as well as puzzles intended for it. Don't confuse this game for a Metroidvania style game, where backtracking is required in order for you to progress. I mean, sure, you can visit previous rooms in order to 100% them like some kind of N64 collectathon. Previous rooms even contain optional quests, like civilians who need your help in exchange for prizes. Tinykin's progression is straightforward, room to room. The exploration and treasure hunting is done in multiple large, self-contained rooms, which I honestly liked a lot more. The Tinykin in your inventory don't even transfer from room to room. You start fresh every time you enter a new room. You're given a prime objective every time you enter a new room. Help the NPCs with said objective and they reward you with a quest item, the whole reason for the game. The objective is usually no more than gather such and such items and bring them to this place so that we can be happy. The environmental puzzles are placed along the way to obtaining said items. Items can be hidden in awkward places, requiring you to use your wits in order to reach them. You can approach the puzzles at your leisure and in any order that you wish. What I ended up doing was diving in headfirst into a room and just running for it like a child. See what you can get into right away, and if you run into a wall, just explore another area of the room. Eventually you'll come across what you need and approach the rest of the room from there. Rooms may seem daunting at first due to their large scale, but after a while you'll have a grasp as to where everything is. You even unlock handy vines you can skate across to make traversal across the map a lot faster when you realize, oh man, I need to head back to the opposite side of the room and grab something. Mylodane isn't just some useless hunk of meat. He can double jump into a glide bubble which helps clear large gaps and maneuver around walls. He can ride Surf's Up on a piece of soap. Okay, that one's not that necessary, but it's really fun to do. I discovered late in the game that he can even grind on certain surfaces. He's basically Tony Hawk. You've seen some footage of the game so far in this review. Can I just say that the gameplay video does not do the game justice, and it's better seen in person. I recommend this game be played on PC. I've heard the game doesn't look that great on Nintendo Switch, which is a shame, so let me know if that's the case if you're a Switch user. But I'm on PC with a 3080 Ti, settings cranked to the max at 1440p, and this game has such a deep clarity to it that can only be appreciated in person. The art style has 2D characters that look like they came out of a Rick and Morty episode. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Rick and Morty lately, and did you know you can watch all of their episodes live streaming on their website? I digress. The environments are fully 3D, lacking a smidge. The 3D models look great as long as you don't examine them too closely. It's only when you get up close you notice a bit of a low-res look to a few of the models. On top of that, the characters don't ever turn. They're always facing the player, either facing left or right, which at first I thought was a bit weird, but after a while I didn't even notice it and I went about my playthrough. The various different rooms do a good job of conveying like they've been occupied by a large human originally, and then eventually taken over by insects who repurposed the furniture to fit their needs. My favorite are the matchbox beds. I mean, come on, that's freaking cute. Imagine those little baby ants tucking themselves in. Graphics are good, controls are tight, but what about the music? Well, I personally wasn't disappointed in the music. Most ditties are upbeat, and I swear the Tinykin sing along to the music as they're going about their job. The music does a really cool thing where it changes slightly according to where you are in the stage to match whatever kind of environment is around you. The sound design is excellent as well, with varied footsteps depending on the surface you're on. I always appreciate that. The Tinykin make squishy noises and tiny screams of joy as they do stuff. Very lovable. The game isn't voiced at all until the very end, which I won't spoil. Characters instead speak with indistinct garbles. Not the best choice, but how would insects really sound speaking English? So I think it fits. Tinykin is a lovable game packed with activities, while maybe not the most elaborate story or lengthy game. What's here is a super polished experience and nothing to sneeze at. I'll definitely be following the developer Splashteam. I can't wait to see what else they have in store in the future. So that'll do it for my review of Tinykin. Make sure to grab it on Game Pass. It's a no-brainer. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you on the next one.